Before I begin, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. Sparkles. Come on, Lena. Ethan's sister scoffed, her voice laced with entitlement. You don't even need that place. You married my brother. His things are yours, and yours should be shared with family. Don't be so selfish. Her words kept replaying in my head long after she strutted out of the dining room. I just sat there quietly, my hands clasped together, while Ethan leaned back in his chair, pretending to sip his coffee like none of this was happening. Like I wasn't drowning in the weight of it. Hi, everyone. My name is Lena Voss. I'm 29, and this is the moment I discovered that the man I adored more than my own heartbeat didn't love me. He loved what I owned. Ethan always knew about my late father's property, a peaceful coastal estate that had been in my family for 3 generations. When it passed down to me, he celebrated with roses and champagne. But lately, his affection had shifted into quiet, calculated interest. That night, after his sister left, he finally said what he'd been circling around. Lena, she's having a hard time. She's family. You don't even use that estate. Just transfer it to her. It's the right thing to do. I blinked slowly. You want me to hand over the last thing my father left me? His jaw tightened. It's just a house, Lena. Don't make it emotional. But it was emotional. Every wall carried my father's laughter. My mother's garden. The scent of old books in the study. That place wasn't just real estate. It was my roots. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't pleading. He was expecting. He had already decided I would fall in line. Something inside me shifted in that moment, soft and quiet, like the ocean pulling back before a storm hits. When he murmured, "If you truly love me, you'll do it," I didn't respond. I simply watched him walk away, unaware that inside me, a different kind of silence had begun to grow. Not the silence of submission, but of resolve. Because sometimes love doesn't end in shouting. It ends in a stillness sharp enough to shatter glass. The next morning, sunlight filled the kitchen as if nothing had changed, but everything had. Ethan walked in fully dressed for work, his tie perfect, his expression colder than I'd ever seen. No greeting, no concern, no warmth, just, "So, have you decided?" I kept my voice steady. "Yes, and I'm not signing anything." The silence that followed was heavy enough to swallow the room. He let out a bitter laugh. "You can't be serious, Lena. She's my sister. She's gone through hell. What's wrong with you?" My eyes drifted to the floor, following the morning light across the tiles. "What's wrong," I said quietly, "is that you think compassion means erasing myself." He slammed his palm onto the counter. "Don't twist this. I'm trying to do what's right for family." "Your family," I whispered. That's when he said it, the sentence that cracked something permanent inside me. "If you won't help, maybe this marriage isn't working. Maybe we need space or end it altogether." I raised my eyes to his, the same eyes that once promised me forever. "Is that a threat or a wish?" He didn't reply. He just grabbed his keys and muttered, "You're going to regret this, Lena. Don't forget who provides for you." The door slammed behind him. The echo lingered like rolling thunder. I sat there for hours, not crying, not moving, just thinking. He truly believed he could frighten me into giving in. He expected me to beg. He didn't understand that I had already accepted the possibility of losing him the moment he asked me to betray my father's memory. That night, I packed a small suitcase, clothes, essentials, my father's journal, and the property documents. When Ethan returned, he found half the bedroom empty. "What is this supposed to be?" he snapped. I turned toward him, calm and steady. "It means you can have your divorce." Before he could speak, I added, "But you won't have me, or anything that belongs to me." His face froze. For the first time, fear cracked through his carefully controlled expression. That was when he finally understood. The game had changed, and I wasn't playing on his board anymore. He followed me down the hallway, his voice rising, laced with panic. "Lena, stop acting crazy. You're not leaving over this." I paused at the door, my hand on the handle, suitcase beside me. The air carried the sharp scent of his cologne, the same one he always wore. Expensive, empty. "I'm not leaving because of this," I murmured, voice steady. "I'm leaving because I finally see who you really are." He let out a short laugh, raking a hand through his hair. I gave you everything. The car, the trips, the comfort, he said, voice tight. No, Ethan, I replied gently. You gave me distractions. I gave you loyalty. For the first time, a crack appeared in his self-assured facade. So, you're just walking away? I turned fully to face him. You threatened to end our marriage over property that isn't yours. I'm only granting your wish ahead of schedule. He pressed his lips into a rigid line. Do you think anyone will believe you? You'll come crawling back when you realize life without me is impossible. I smiled, small, quiet, and not the smile he remembered. Not the one that came from happiness, but the one born of clarity. I survived before you, Ethan. I'll do it again. I opened the door. Morning light spilled inside, soft and golden, as though the universe itself were watching. My suitcase wheels scraped against the pavement, a strangely satisfying sound. From behind me, he called out, Don't expect me to follow you. I didn't turn, but I could hear it. The anger. Yes, but beneath it, fear. The fear of a man who realizes he's lost control over someone he thought would never leave. I drove in silence. No music, no cheers, just the hum of the road, and my pulse sinking into the truth that freedom doesn't always feel like victory. Sometimes it feels like a wound that breathes. As the house vanished in my rear view, I whispered, You wanted me to give everything away, Ethan. Congratulations. You got your wish. Yet deep down, I knew he hadn't claimed the property, not yet. Not until he saw what I had planned. The week passed like a storm I refused to face. I stayed in my late father's coastal home, the one Ethan had wanted to gift his sister. Quiet, the air thick with sea breeze, and echoes of everything I had fought to protect. For days, I didn't answer his calls. Then, one evening, an email arrived from his lawyer. The subject read, Marital Settlement Proposal. I opened it slowly, heart calm. They wanted the property transferred in good faith as part of the divorce. Polite words in legal packaging, but underneath, pure greed. I stared at the screen, then smiled. My father had already left me a shield. Months before he passed, he'd written a private letter, instructions to secure the estate in a family trust solely under my name. Untouchable, unclaimable by any spouse. Quietly, I had done exactly as he instructed. Finn had no idea. The next morning, I called my attorney. They're trying to claim the property, I said evenly. He chuckled. Then they're in for a surprise. It's legally untouchable. That night, Ethan appeared at the gate, headlights slicing through the fog. He looked tired, defeated, but still carried the arrogance that believed charm could fix everything. Lena, he began, voice softer now, we don't need to do this. Just transfer it to her and we can move on. I stepped into the wind, hair whipping around my face. You really don't get it, do you? What? He asked, brow furrowed. It was never about the property. It was about the way you thought I'd surrender my dignity to prove love. For the first time, he was speechless. I handed him a sealed envelope, the trust documents. Since you like legal papers, here's one to read closely. You won't find your name anywhere. His expression twisted, disbelief and fury mingling. You planned this, he demanded. I smiled faintly. No, my father did. I just honored his wisdom. And as he stood there realizing he had lost both me and his golden ticket, I whispered, this was never yours to take. 2 days later, the gravel crunched under tires. Through the window, I saw her, Ethan's sister, Rachel, stepping out of her sleek SUV, moving with the same arrogance that once filled my kitchen. I opened the door before she could knock. Lena, she said sweetly, though her eyes cut like shards of glass. Can we talk? I nodded and let her inside. She scanned the space, the paintings, the oak shelves, the sunlight spilling through lace curtains. So, this is the famous property, she murmured. You must feel proud sitting on something you don't even use. I remained seated, calm. It's not something. It's home. Home. She scoffed. You live here alone. My brother's heartbroken. You've ruined your marriage. And for what? To keep a pile of bricks? Her voice trembled slightly, not sorrow, but fury disguised as concern. I leaned forward. You mean the pile of bricks your brother tried to take from me? Her smile vanished. You don't understand. He's struggling. His business. His business collapsed because he kept leveraging my name. I spoke softly, cutting through the tension. You think I didn't notice? She froze. That landed exactly where it needed to. I continued, my voice calm yet sharp. I carried his debts for years. I looked the other way while he drained my savings. I excused every lie until he laid a hand on my father's inheritance. That was my boundary. Rachel crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. You'll regret this. You've pushed him to desperation. I rose, my shadow stretching over her. Then maybe he'll finally understand what desperation really feels like. She reached the door, but paused, her words trembling with venom. He won't let you win, Lena. You'll see. I watched her car vanish down the road, dust swirling behind it like the last gasp of a storm that had already passed. Because I wasn't fighting anymore. I was merely letting truth finish what it had started. It began quietly, as all collapses do. Ethan's name started circulating in hushed tones around town. Clients withdrew. His business partner resigned. A bank investigator called to verify several financial discrepancies tied to my old joint account, the one I'd closed months ago. Apparently, Ethan hadn't just tried to touch my inheritance. He had been forging my signature long before. My lawyer's voice came through calm, with an edge of satisfaction. Lena, it's all falling apart for him. Forged authorizations, unpaid loans, false guarantees. It's all in his name now. You're clear. Completely clear. The word felt like air after drowning. A week later, I saw him again, not in person but on the local news. A short headline that said everything. Entrepreneur Ethan Voss under investigation for financial misconduct. I watched, unmoved, a cooling cup of tea in my hands. Justice, not pleasure, filled the silence. That night he called. His voice was fractured, almost human. Lena, they've frozen my accounts. They're accusing me of things that aren't true. You have to help me. I closed my eyes. Help you? The way you helped me? This isn't fair, he yelled. You're letting them ruin me. No, I said softly. You ruined yourself the moment you tried to ruin me. Silence. I could hear his breath, angry, scared, lost. Then a whisper, you've changed. I smiled faintly. No, you just never saw me clearly before. I hung up before he could respond. Outside, the ocean roared like applause, waves pounding the rocks as if the sea itself were washing him out of my life. The next morning, Rachel called, sobbing. They're seizing his assets, Lena. Please, you have to do something. I listened for a long moment. Then, finally, I already did. I let go. The line went dead. For the first time in months, I slept through the night, the kind of sleep that comes only when ghosts finally rest. A month later, he appeared at the property, uninvited, unannounced, and unrecognizable. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes hollow, hair streaked with stress that no apology could hide. At the gate, he froze, staring as if he'd seen a ghost. Lena, he said, voice breaking. I've lost everything. I nodded slowly. I know. He stepped closer, desperation etched in every line. They froze my accounts. The business is gone. I don't even have a place to stay. I thought maybe I could save you. I finished his sentence for him. He looked down, ashamed yet still seeking sympathy. I made mistakes, but you were supposed to be my wife. I thought marriage meant forgiveness. I exhaled, steady and measured. Marriage means partnership, Ethan. Forgiveness is for accidents, not ambition. He clenched his fists. You think you're better than me now? No, I said calmly. Just freer. We stood in silence, the wind moving between us. The house behind me, the same one he had tried to take, loomed like a monument. I stepped aside. This was never about money. It was about control. You didn't want the house. You wanted to own the person who inherited it. He shook his head, tears brimming. I just wanted us to have something together. We did, Ethan, I said softly. We had trust, and you traded it for greed. He fell to his knees, voice trembling. Please, Lena, just help me one last time. I looked at him, the man who had made me believe love meant sacrifice, now a shadow, stripped of power, facing the consequences of his own choices. I did help you, I whispered, by letting you face yourself. His pleading eyes followed me as I turned away, closing the gate behind me with a metallic click that sounded final. The sea wind carried his softer voice calling my name, but I did not look back. The days after were eerily quiet. No calls, no letters, no uninvited visits, just silence, deep and wide, like the ocean after a storm. I spent mornings walking through my father's garden, roses and marigolds leaning into the sun, untouched by everything that had burned behind me. One afternoon, my lawyer called. "It's official," he said. "The court finalized your divorce and dismissed all his claims. You're free, Lena. Completely free." The word didn't feel like triumph. It felt like peace. That evening, I opened one last envelope I had been avoiding. A letter from my father written before he passed. His handwriting trembled, but the words were steady. "Never let love demand the pieces that make you whole. Protect what's yours, not for wealth, but for history. Your name, your worth, your silence when the world tries to take both." I folded the letter carefully and returned it to the drawer. Outside, the sunset bled amber and gold across the sky, the same colors of my childhood. I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, watching the tide roll in. Revenge had never felt as loud or sharp as I imagined. Instead, it was stillness, the kind that comes when you stop explaining yourself to people who never listened. Ethan never called again. Word spread that he had moved far away, starting over, leaving behind debts, regrets, and echoes of the man he once was. I neither hated him nor pitied him. Some lessons only come through loss, and he had earned every one. As for me, I rebuilt not just the property, but myself, room by room, thought by thought, until one morning I finally recognized the woman in the mirror. Not the obedient wife, but the daughter who remembered. When the wind carried the faint scent of salt and freedom through the open window, I whispered with a quiet smile, "Some things are meant to be shared."